Good afternoon and happy Thursday, July 23. This is Michelle. I am daughter number 3, and Bill is on his Canadian adventure. So I'm here to be the amateur meteorologist for the day. I never thought I would be an amateur meteorologist, but in school, whenever we had to do a career day project, I always picked journalism. So here we are. Let's give it a try. First, a look at your Holland State Park camera from Wednesday, the 23rd. And when I lived near Holland, I used to take a sack dinner and go have my dinner out in Holland State Park and sit out on the pier and just have a wonderful time and talk to people that I met out there. So there's a look at Holland State Park for Wednesday, and we'd like to thank our viewers from the Ottawa News Network. All right, where is Bill today? He flew to Denver, Colorado, and then to Calgary. And now he's taking a train through the Canadian Rockies, and he will take the train through Vancouver. So he's having a wonderful time on his Canadian trip. And someone had a great suggestion that we share the weather on his trip. And of course, it's pretty perfect because that's how he rolls. A high of 71 and a low of 47. Pleasant conditions. It looks like a wonderful time to be in the Canadian Rockies. So I hope he's having a good time. And when I would travel when I was young, we always had a rule that if I didn't contact them, that meant I was having a good time. I think maybe they just didn't want to pay for long distance phone calls, but long distance phone calls were expensive, so good for them. So I haven't heard from them other than the photos that he's been posting online. So I think that means he's having a good time. And it looks like he's having a great time. There he is with the Canadian flag high up in the Rockies. So Bill is living his best life, and we hope he continues to have an amazing time on his vacation. Meantime, in West Michigan, it is hot. This is the heat advisory map for West Michigan. This is for Wednesday, but it remains in effect through Thursday evening at this time. Heat index values may be up to 103. So if you're working outside or if you're just outside, you really need to watch out for heat illness and stroke. And here are some ways that you can beat the heat. Make sure that you stay hydrated. Limit the amount of time that you spend outdoors. If you have air conditioning, be sure to take advantage of that. Your fan might not be enough. And then make sure that you're wearing appropriate clothing. And then monitor yourself and those around you for symptoms of unusual things. And if you have a slip and slide, definitely get it out and use it. I loved our slip and slide that we had in the backyard. It was the best. So in addition to all of these things to beat the heat, I highly recommend the slip and slide. Okay, and dangerous currents. This is from Wednesday, July 23. There are a lot of warnings throughout Lake Michigan, including some red flag do not swim warnings. So if you're going to be near the lake, make sure that you watch out for these and that you pay attention to what the latest warning is in your area. And your headlines for today, it is hot, 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 but you already knew that. So there are heat advisories in your area. And it seems like they've escalated the risk of thunderstorm later in the week. Earlier in the week, we said maybe Thursday and Friday, maybe there would be some. Now they seem to be a little bit more definite and for a longer period of time. So thunderstorms in the forecast from Thursday to Saturday intermittently. And this is Southwest Lower Michigan that we're talking about. There might be heavy rain and significant winds that pop up during those showers. So today's weather, what can you expect for your July 24, 2005, a high of 94, and that is hot with a chance of afternoon storms, and a low of 70 with mostly clear conditions at night, humidity of 58%, and winds from the west at 6 to 11 miles per hour. And through the rest of your week, Friday, it's still going to be hot, and we might see a little bit more cloud cover. Saturday, those storms that we said would roll in for the weekend, but still hot, high of 86 and low of 68. Hot and sunny again for your Monday with a high of 91 and another high of 91 for your Monday. And comfortable lows, so if you want to go outside late at night is probably a great time. All right, and we'd like to thank our sponsors, Complete Care Concierge LLC. They are the fast, efficient, and affordable cleaning service. They do residential cleans and commercial cleans throughout all of West Michigan, and we thank them for their support of Bill, Steffen weather. All right, here's a look at your daily high temps around Michigan for Thursday, July 24. Hot in West Michigan, cooler by the lake, 84, 83, and 87 as you head down the west coast of West Michigan, 93 in Detroit, and lower temps in the Upper Peninsula. All right, other events around town. The Coast Guard Festival, one of the highlights of the summer, kicks off this Friday, July 25. And Friday, the festivities start with a quilt show and an 80s band performance. And Saturday is the fun run, the kids parade, cardboard boat race. Have you ever been in a cardboard boat race? I have not. And Simply Queen, a rock band performance. And the Coast Guard Festival is so much fun. I always hoped that I was free on that day so that I could go with Dad to Grand Haven for the day and walk around for the parade. But there's fun things going on for the entire week. All right, other events in history for your July 24. On this day in 1862, Martin Van Buren died at the age of 79. He was the 8th U.S. president. He was president from 1834 to 1841. And a couple of facts about him that are fun. He's the only president that did not speak English as a native language. Despite being born in the United States, he was born in New York in a Dutch-speaking area, and Dutch was his first language. He is also the first U.S. president to be born a citizen. Other presidents became U.S. citizens, but he was the first one that was born based on the date and times that people could be born a U.S. citizen. He was defeated for re-election because an economic downturn started shortly within his term, and the voters were unhappy with that, and that's what the historians say is what cost him his re-election. So he died on this day in 1862. Moving on, a handful of years later, the world's first commercial hydroelectric power plant in Grand Rapids. And we've talked a little bit before on this show about how Grand Rapids was a leader of electric power and in power creation and distribution for city and municipal services. So this was the first commercial hydroelectric power plant, and it was right here in Grand Rapids. Hydroelectric power, it converts flowing water to electricity. Falling and running water makes turbines turn, and then generators convert that into power. It was located at the Wolverine Chair Factory at Pearl and Front Street in Grand Rapids, and that's where the museums are now, the Grand Rapids Public Museum and the Ford Museum as well. And it was a project of Grand Rapids Electric Light and Power Company, which was a predecessor to Consumers Energy. So there's so many amazing things that happened right here in Grand Rapids that we're at the forefront of. So this is a fun one that I found when I was researching things that happen on this day. And July 24, 1923, Dick Rietzema gets a speeding ticket. Why is that news? And I couldn't figure out why. So the Holland Sentinel reported it on their This Day in History section from 2019. So why did they think that it was notable that Dick Rietzema got a speeding ticket almost 100 years prior? I don't know. I can't figure out what he did, what business he ran, why it would be notable. But he was stopped for speeding in Granville. He was headed out to Holland to go fishing and got stopped on his way and got fined $5, which is $94 today. So a hefty fine. And at the time, only 13.5% of the US population even owned a car. So maybe it was just rare that anyone got a speeding ticket at all. And I did find, hopefully it's the same Dick Rietzema that I'm reporting on, that he died at the age of 61 with at least 9 children. So sorry about your speeding ticket. All right, July 24, 2017, U.S. Representative Martin Booth dies. Do any of you remember U.S. Rep. Martin Booth? He was the Republican representative from Comstock Park, Michigan. He was born on a dairy farm and lived most of his life there. He started in politics on the Plainfield Township Board of Trustees and served in the U.S. House from 1959 to 1982 and died just shy of his 100th birthday at the age of 99. So if any of you remember Representative Martin Booth, please let us know in the comments. And July 24 is Old Joke Day. And as you're learning on the show, which I already definitely knew, Bill is the master of the dad joke. So here are a couple of my favorites. So whenever we would go to a parade and it would not be raining, he would say, "Oh, it never rains on me in a parade," because people would shout at him, "Oh, Bill, nice weather, great weather today." And he would shout back, "It never rains on me in a parade." I must have heard it 200 times. And then another one, when people would complain about the weather, "I'm just in retail." And if it was raining in a parade, it was the rain is Channel 8's fault. And then as soon as he moved to Channel 8, it became Channel 13's fault. Whatever station he wasn't at the time, it was their fault. Let's see. Did you stub your toe? We'll have to call a tow truck. That's what we heard whenever we would complain about little bumps and bruises as a kid. It was, did you stub your toe? We'll call a tow truck. And then every time we pass the cemetery, people are just dying to get in there, which I don't think is his dad joke. I think it's everyone's dad joke. But anyways, today is Old Joke Day. So brush off your old silly jokes and try them on someone. If you have a good one, please post it in the comments. All right, and a beautiful cloud formation from John Scully. What a wonderful view of all those clouds and where they were going. Another beautiful summer day in Muskegon. Even when it's overcast, it's so beautiful in Michigan in the summer. So John, thank you for sending us that photo. And another photo from John Doherty, and this is a small milkweed bug. And let me tell you, the bugs in Alabama are something else. I was not prepared. They're big and they're loud and southern bugs. Anyways, thanks, John, for sending us this beautiful photo of a small milkweed bug, not a giant bug like we have here in Alabama. And if you've got a photo to send us on the show, please send it to bill@billsteffen.com. We would love to put it on the show or hear of anything else that you might like on the show. Right now, Alex and I are so proud because right now, Bill's going to come back to more subscribers than he left with. So I think that's pretty good. You'll haven't gone running, at least not yet. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please do that for my sake so that we can let him know that he came back to more subscribers than he left with. And you can also check out our merch shop in the comments. This is one of them. This is the It's Cooler by the Lake shirt. So check that out. Lots of good stuff in there. So thank you for sticking with us. This is my first time being a meteorologist, so it was fun, and I really appreciate the help from grandson Alex for the last couple of days, and he will probably be back soon doing this. So thank you so much for your support. Have a great Thursday, July 24, and enjoy the heat.